I've seen the trailer for the Dark Tower film that's coming up. That's based off of the works of Stephen King, and and I think it's going to be interesting, and it actually got me thinking. Stephen King actually started doing shared multiverses. Shared universal stories where basically there's multiple stories that take place within one or a collection of story universes long before it actually became very popular. And but so it's kind of interesting seeing the trailer for the Dark Tower. It kind of makes me wonder how I wonder if how many ties there's going to be to, like, not just to other stories by Stephen King, but how many of the adaptations that have been already done that are going to get directly referenced. And the reason why I say that is because I noticed in the trailer there are two different references to two other works from inside the trailer itself. I'm sure there will probably be a whole lot of them for the film. The first one I noticed was that there's a picture of the Overlook Hotel on the table next to the books inside the, I'm assuming it's a psychiatrist's office, and of course, when you see it for like a brief second. The second one I noticed was about like a minute or so in, where it shows this broken down fair ride slash fair attraction that's actually titled Pennywise, and it actually has a clown statue that's toppled over, and the clown statue is holding balloons. Reference to Stephen King's It, with the iconic Pennywise clown. Now, and of course, I don't mind the idea of shared universes, and even, even nowadays, it's coming even more so, common. But I also like the idea of there being just single universes where there's just a whole bunch of stories taking place within one universe instead of it being a shared shared multiverse kind of thing. I'll give you an example. I don't mind there being like the Marvel universe, Marvel Cinematic Universe, where you got the films and you got the TV shows, and they sort of overlap with references and stuff like that. But the problem is with Marvel is that it's like they've separated both the film and TV universe to where there's not even any crossover between the two. Like, you don't see. The only character that I can think of that did any kind of crossover was Coulson from dying in the film universe and then ending up in the TV show, and it's explained away as I got better, But the biggest offender, I think. But the biggest one that I think is a big issue is DC. Now, don't get me wrong. I get, the idea of property and stuff like that. But the problem with it is when it comes to DC, there's no real overlap between what they've got, their successful television properties, and their semi-abysmal movies. Okay, I'll give you a great example. The Flash. Right now, the TV show The Flash, it's considered one of the best DC television shows ever on TV. Yet they have the Flash coming up for the upcoming movies, like for the Justice League movie, and the biggest problem with that is that it's a different actor playing the role. It's the actor that plays the Flash in the upcoming movie. I'm familiar with him from his performance in the Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I think he did an excellent job in. But the fact is that DC is beating DC has beaten Batman to a pulp. I'm not meaning that as like a joke to pulp comics. No, I mean to a pulp. How many times have we had to see Batman. How many times have we had to see the Batman origin story? Too many freaking times. Okay, and even then, I mean, another problem is that when it comes to DC films, they're not fun. They're not fun like Marvel, which is why DC is slowly losing the cinema war. But more importantly, the biggest issue is that they have no overlap. They already have a Flash that's already proven popular on TV, and yet they're not even asking. Yet they didn't even bother to ask the actor who's playing the Flash on the TV series to come in and play, the Flash for the film, which would definitely be, would definitely probably help out with DC's in their cinematic shared universe with everything. By start having that interlocking between the film and the TV shows, that may actually help it out a little bit to compete with Marvel. But the only other thing that they need to do is change that their trying to earn Academy Awards to something that's actually fun and enjoyable. And but I mean, when it comes to somebody that's successfully has done the shared universe, Stephen King definitely has. And to me, I think, I mean, it's just so, I mean, it's not just only limited to the stories he's written. I mean, yes, I mean, he's done, the whole Dark Tower series, and he's done, like, novels like The Stand, short stories like The Mist, and all of it, often connecting and linking to one another, and having an ongoing, shared universe that all tie into the Dark Tower. But it's also expanded into comics as well, with the Marvel Comics Dark Tower series, and of course now there's the film, which from what I believe may actually be a continuation from the novels, because for those that may not have read the novels, at the end of the final Dark Tower story, the readers are given a choice to either continue on with the reading, or they can just end the story right there for them. And if you continue on reading, you find out that Roland takes that step through the door, and he ends up right back at the very start of the story. Back, all the way far back to page 1 of The Gunslinger. This time around, he's got an item, I can't remember the name of it to save my life, that he didn't have before. So as a result, it implies that there are cycles, and this time around, Nolan's got I keep wanting to say Nolan. I'm sorry. Roland has now got an upper hand because he had an item that he didn't have before, and this item is actually one of the items that for the film that Roland is carrying, and so essentially the film could very well be not just the next cycle of the Dark Tower story, but a sequel to the Dark Tower story, and possibly even the end game of the entire Dark Tower story. So, and of course, I know you're thinking, well, that makes no sense. Well, the fact of the matter is that there's also the television series that's being developed. Though I doubt that they're going to use any of the actors from the upcoming film for the TV series. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm interested in seeing how things go with Stephen King's work and in the shared universe. I want to see if maybe they're going to expand on it to actually include, stuff that's already been done, like maybe have them adopt adopt films that have already been adapted of Stephen King's work that King probably may like bringing in John Carpenter's adaptation of Christine, bringing in the adaptation of Firestarter, or bits and pieces of films that have already been adapted, adapted from King's work, that are all part of this universe, and have them all tie into one another. I mean, like I said, I've already seen the picture of the Overlook Hotel, which happens to be the very first Overlook Hotel from the first adaptation of The Shining, which was directed by Stanley Kubrick, and not the reboot not the remake that King was actually involved with, that didn't get widely accepted. But it does open that door to accept like pre-existing adaptations into a shared cinema universe, primarily because of the source material that was that they're based on. I mean, but of course, I'm just interested to see how things go.